very small group, whoever they were, basically turned the computers off and put overlays in there. And you hear the air traffic controllers and people, even at NORAD, saying, is this real or simulated? Why is there a drill going on right now while this is happening? And they use the drill to basically have the cover of why someone at NORAD was overriding everything. Then they ordered the F-16s to fly at near stall speed. And I got this from multiple military sources, one of them a colonel who died after he came on the show, Colonel Don de Grand Prix, who was in Black Ops all over the world as an arms dealer after he was in the military. And he died of a heart attack right after he came on. Might have been natural, but it was so dangerous to be covering that at the time. And he talked about how an air wing out of the Dakotas, and named them, was in a drill in Virginia and fired 2 AIM-9s, that's Sidewinders, into Flight 93. That's what the state police said they saw and heard was a big explosion, and the debris was over all those miles. And the media would just lie about all of it. And again, that's the issue with 9/11. You go into it, and it just never ends how much evidence there is that the official story is a total fraud. And then we attack the wrong country. If you believe really 15 hijackers from Saudi Arabia did it, and there was a stand down ordered at the embassy in Riyadh to order them to be allowed in the U.S., and I interviewed the head of the visa department at the embassy, Springman, who said, no, they were CIA. We were ordered to let them in, and that their terror designation was a cover. I mean, he was in newspapers at the time in England and Canada. I called, got him on the show repeatedly. And I didn't mean to go off into 9/11 today. It's just that these are the type of false flags that get run. We know our own government has staged a bunch of false flags to get us into these wars. We know Hitler started World War II with a false flag, Operation Himmler at Gleiwitz. There's a whole string of false flags to blame the Poles for attacking Germany. So we'd be fools to not understand that clearly this is war propaganda and that they're trying to start a new war, Cold War, economic war, maybe even physical war. They're in a proxy war right now that's physical in Ukraine. And that's what Syria and Iraq and all of this is about. And the globalists are the bad guys in this. Running Al-Qaeda, running ISIS, trying to overthrow all these countries. Let's not forget about all that. But the reason I want to talk to the air traffic people and the pilots, the article's up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Malaysia Airline diverts flight over Syrian airspace where ISIS terrorists are armed with Stinger missiles, control 35% of Syrian territory, and there's a no-fly over the area where this aircraft flew. And this is getting weirder and weirder. Also a big story, photo evidence shows Ukraine regime delivering the BUK missiles to troops. And this isn't some Russian article claiming this, which it's known that the Ukrainians had these from when they were pro-Russia. It's in Canadian television from an article about Ukrainian forces win ground in Ukraine, in eastern Ukraine. And Ukrainian forces win more ground in eastern Ukraine. And it's an AP photo. Ukrainian government forces maneuver anti-aircraft missile launchers as they are transported northwest on July 4th, 2014. And it's an Associated Press article and photo picked up by Channel 24, part of CTV in Canada. So it's not even an article about, oh, look, the Ukrainians had this missile. It's been known they had the missile. But now it shows them rolling them into that area, according to the AP, an article about how valiant and wondrous they are. So it's establishment news out of the West, not realizing what they're showing. Pretty big deal. That's up on Infowars.com. We'll get into the whole border implosion as well. Huge NSA news. And a lot more straight ahead. You can follow us on Twitter at Real Alex Jones. And the Matt Drudge piece is coming up.
American gardeners and fellow patriots, make the right choice with your money, time, and your family food supply. Choose 100% pure heirloom seeds in the Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com. Why spend more? The Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com is only $37.95 and includes 20 varieties of pure, hardy, easy-to-grow heirloom seeds. Yes, only $37.95. That's 70% less than our competitors. You could buy 3 Survival Seed Vaults for less than one of theirs. The Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com includes detailed planting and seed-saving instructions and ships same day. Plus, all orders over $49 ship free. MyPatriotSupply.com is American-owned by patriots like you, passionate about freedom and preparedness. Call now, 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Or discover more emergency preparedness items when you order at MyPatriotSupply.com. Choose the original. Choose the Survival Seed Vault at MyPatriotSupply.com.
Alex Jones here for Infowars.com. In the month of July, we have got giant specials on everything at Made-in-1776.com. The already discounted Made-in-1776 t-shirts are only $17.76. We have the new belt buckles that in only 2 weeks of sale are very close to selling out. There's only 500 of each. We're talking about Made in America belt buckles in nickeled brass. This is more than a summer blowout special. This is a new declaration of independence. But to expand the InfoWar, we're offering the equivalent of more than 5 months free right now when you get a membership at prisonplanet.tv. For a limited time, only $39.95 a year. That's more than 5 months free off the regular price. Not just this July 4th weekend, but the entire month of July at Made-in-1776.com. Molon Labe, you can take my gun from my cold, dead hands.
My name's Bruno. I'm 52 years old. I've tried different protein powders over the years, and they've all tasted pretty bad. I tried One World Whey and found it to be delicious. After 10 weeks on One World Whey, my wife commented, "You have more muscles and you're leaner than when you were 20 years old." My body has changed dramatically. I'm a cyclist. Normally I'll ride 2 days on and take 2 days off. After being on One World Whey, I rode 10 days in a row in over 100-degree heat, and then I take another 2 servings of One World Whey, and then work out at the gym for another hour and a half. I just couldn't believe these results. My normal muscle tightness and soreness after working out are virtually gone. Don't take my word for it. One World Whey comes in single servings. Just give it a try.
One World Whey is derived from Amish grass-pastured cows and is newly reformulated to be higher in protein. Call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit oneworldwhey.com. That's oneworld.com.
How can you save a ton of money and prepare for emergencies? By having your own in-home freeze dryer from Harvest Right. Now you can cut down on wasted food by freeze drying your leftovers. That's right. Create your own long-term food storage by freeze drying your own fruits, meats, vegetables, even complete meals with a Harvest Right in-home freeze dryer. Imagine the savings and the peace of mind. See how the amazing Harvest Right freeze dryer works at harvestright.com.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit and carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Ted Anderson, I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Flight 17 shot down last week, that you would think is the only story in the world, has been officially, in scores of newspapers that I've seen, been blamed directly on Vladimir Putin. And again, that's pure war propaganda, pure demonization. You have an aircraft that was flown over a war zone that was shot down. The Russians may well have done it. Obviously, the pro-Russian rebels in the predominantly Russian ethnic area of Crimea clearly do have these missiles and have been shooting down military aircraft from Ukraine, NATO-backed, that have been bombing them. And so if you get on an airliner that gets directed over an airspace that's a war zone and you get shot down, logic would say the blame would go on whoever directed that aircraft through there. If the pilot just broke the law or made a mistake and flew over, they should be blamed. If the airline ordered it, they should be blamed. But I'll tell you what the airlines do. They follow in major air corridors like that over a war zone. Let me tell you, they check their charts and their flight plan probably 10 times. This would have come from the EU air traffic control system, the Ukrainian air traffic control system, NATO, FAA, Europe. The FAA is in Europe, and they're on record 2 months ago saying don't fly through there. Not a recommendation, not a warning, an order. Now, I'm no pilot. I'm no air traffic controller. That's what I know from just researching the news over the years and flying around with my dad and other pilots and being on private jets. I've had some friends that have large private jets, and I've been on them quite a few times. And I like to fly up front in the crash seat with the pilots, and it's really neat and get to see all the stuff they're up to. But we're going to actually talk to air traffic controllers now, pilots and others, and find out if I'm wrong about this. I want to go to Roy in Wyoming, who's an air traffic controller, then Grandpa Stan, who's a pilot, Danny, who's a former military pilot, Brendan, who's Air Force, and John, who's a private pilot. We'll get to all of you. This is a short segment, long segment coming up. But let's go to Roy in Wyoming. Roy, what do you think about this as an air traffic controller? And did I get it right or part of it right? What do you think? I mean, isn't the story that all the other air traffic wasn't going through this corridor, and that this flight went through a war zone?
Hey, Alex, yeah, you're absolutely right. There's something that's not adding up there. If the pilots do check their flight plans 10 times over, the FAA said that they prohibit our airlines from flying over these war zones right now, so there's no way that you see a carrier flying through there, especially a 777. I'm not sure overseas how they're working that, but I imagine it'd be similar since all of our rules are roughly the same or getting close to being the same. So, yeah, you're right. It's not adding up at all.
Well, I had some family that worked for FAA Europe, and I gave them a call, and they worked there in the 80s in translating, and they said that there's just no way they would direct an airliner over a war zone.
Absolutely not. And it's not uncommon, for example, on Tuesday, the 11th of September, 2001, where they'll evacuate. They'll tell everybody in the control tower to leave their position and send them into the space down below where there is no windows, and then they'll staff that control tower with black ops. It happens all the time in Fallon, Nevada. The control tower at Area 51, Diego Garcia, this happens. It's not uncommon to see that happen. So that the controllers have no idea what's going on. Again, repeating the compartmentalization of the federal government.
What does your gut as an air traffic controller tell you is going on over here with this Russia situation and this shoot down of this aircraft?
11 years as a controller, my gut tells me that obviously there's a cover-up going on. And again, if you ask controllers in Europe, chances are they were either removed, or if they do talk about it, they're going to be disappeared.
Well, there was a Spanish air traffic controller in Kiev. This came out in the news and was even on Fox Latino, but then got removed. And David Knight covered this last Friday on the Nightly News with Leanne McAdoo. And not just this air traffic controller who was senior, but others said that they were basically told to shut up and that it was shot down by Ukraine. And that the same thing you just said, that the day before, they brought new controllers in who they'd never seen before, who basically kicked them out when this happened. And it's strange you said that, because you just brought up basically what that Spanish air traffic controller said. Pretty bizarre. What does that sound like to you?
Exactly, and that's their MO. They've been doing it for a long time, so it's nothing new. So you're absolutely right. You're dead on with your what you're bringing up, and my gut, that's what my gut tells me too. So.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for the call, Roy. We're going to go to Grandpa Stan, Danny, Brendan, John, and others. I'm Alex Jones. Follow us on Twitter, Real Alex Jones.
We're on the march.